My name is Mary Howe. I am a teacher of a few classes at the Yoga Center of Lawrence in Lawrence, Kansas. And we teach in the Iyengar tradition. And in the Iyengar tradition, we use a lot of props. So we are currently in the midst of staying home and doing yoga, teaching yoga on Zoom, instead of in our studio where we have a whole wall full of bolsters and we've got a million straps and I don't know how many blankets. So I want to talk about how you can make some of these props at home, how you can put this sort of thing together. So I'm going to show you the regular props and then how you can assemble things at home. So I'm currently sitting on 4 blankets, and so if you were, say, to take an intro class at the Yoga Center over Zoom, your teacher would like you to have 3 blankets, 2 blocks, and a yoga strap. So I happen to be sitting on 4 of them, but this is what they're like, and we use them in many ways. Sitting is not the only thing. As you can see, I have one here that I have underneath me, and we usually fold them down the middle like this. I can't remember what the exact dimensions of this are. That's okay, but you can see it's probably a single bed size blanket. We sometimes roll them up, sometimes we cover ourselves up with them. So these are a staple in our classes. So if you don't have these, you could use blankets from your house. However, they tend to be, especially most modern blankets, which are not necessarily made of wool, they tend to be slippery and a little bit too soft. So another possibility is to use bath towels. So these bath towels are not folded in the same way, but you could actually use this as a stack to sit on. So you could do something like this. These are just 2 folded towels, and I think I'm going to use this sheet also to put on top. So you need to have them be, ideally, if you can get something that's at least foldable into this shape, because then it can be this way or this way. So you see, I can sit neatly enough on this little stack, and it's very sturdy. It's important to sit in such a way that you're not struggling to stay upright, but that your body is held comfortably upright. And you can also use, look around your house, look at your sofa, look at your chairs, see if you have anything that you can use to sit on. And this is this is in the don't column. So I see this, people do this all the time. They get the throw pillows off their sofa, and they stack them up, and they think, oh yeah, this will work just fine, just like a stack of blankets. But in fact, well, first of all, I sank because they're too squishy, but they're also not really wide enough. I'm really filling up I'm a good sized person, but I'm not enormous. And they taper down at the sides, so it's therefore not a stable seat. So I don't recommend this. So if that's your first thought, just move on to the next thought. Another possibility is a couple of bed pillows, and this depends quite a lot on your bed pillows, but again, I sit on them and they're not firm at all. I'm really rocky on them. So this might work, but it's not ideal. It's at least wider than the throw pillows. Then I also have another possibility And this one's better. This is part of my sofa. It's one of the pillows on my sofa. It's the back pillow. But I think actually, I didn't bring one in, but I think one or two of the seat pillows are probably a little bit less soft. This is a bit soft. But anyway, look around your house, and before you come to class, test everything out. Make sure that you are sitting, that your seat is stable and has enough is compacted enough that you're not sinking. And then back to my blankets. The other thing about sitting is that your teacher will tell you to have your knees either slightly below your hips or at the same level as your hips. So if you're sitting, if you sit, did you see me sitting on those two bed pillows? When I did, my knees came up because I'm not a very limber person. And so that is not ideal. In fact, it's really not good at all, because when you're sitting in a cross-legged position, you need to be able to feel completely stable and not have any of that feeling like, oh, I'm going to fall over backwards, or I'm rocking side to side. Okay, that takes care of the blankets. Then we have the bolster. So, and in a beginning class, you might not even need bolsters. If you were in the studio, you would use bolsters. But all I want to say about this is I've made a bolster here. And this I made with an old bed quilt. And inside it I have an additional bath towel rolled up to make it stiff enough and not sinking. And I happened to use 2 yoga belts to strap it together. You really have to have some way of keeping it together, because if you lie down on it and you don't have it strapped, or otherwise, this is inside a couple of covers, it will fall apart and sink out. So you could use a couple of bathrobe ties, you could use, I have here, my son was in Taekwondo. This is a Taekwondo belt. And he's old now and doesn't do this anymore, so therefore I got all his old belts, and they're pretty good for yoga belts. A yoga belt is generally 6 to 8 feet long, woven with a really sturdy buckle. So anyway, that's another thing you can do, is look around your house. Bathrobe ties. I looked around my house and couldn't find anything except the Taekwondo belts, but that's okay. Except there is one other thing you can do. You can make one. You could take a 4 bandanas and tie them together. This happens to be, I had a sewing project these are rejected pieces, so I just tied them together, and this makes a perfectly good yoga belt. The yoga belt might be used for something where you would be, for example, doing something like this. You raise We use yoga belts for a great many things. Then what next was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, blocks. So these are the blocks that I like. And I like them because they have some weight to them. And so therefore they're a little bit more expensive than some of the other yoga blocks that you can buy, but you can buy yoga blocks pretty cheaply all over the place. Big box stores, stores like Marshall's and TJ Maxx often have them on closeout. You can get them for, $6. They're pretty cheap. If you're looking for blocks, notice the difference between these two blocks. This is a very cheap yoga block, and it's so lightweight and thin that it's really not the best. So if you can get fat ones, I recommend that. If you can't, you could also go to the any thrift store, go to Goodwill or Salvation Army or someplace, and pick up some more or less equal size books, about the size of a yoga block. This happens to be a French-English dictionary that I've had for many years. I was going to destroy it for purposes of this video, but I'm not. I decided not to. But you can take a book like this, or 2 books or 3 books, and then just duct tape all around them. And then they become quite stable. They're heavy, but they're very stable for any kinds of the purposes that we would use yoga blocks for. And I think that's it. So, have a good time making your props. Thanks for watching.